Hello, Mech fans. This is Duncan Fisher. Hold on firmly to your mana potions, fireballs, and familiars, because you are tuning in to your regularly scheduled episode of the First Circuit Podcast.
Hello and welcome everyone to episode 107,000. Today we have our usual hosts, me, Biter. We also have Old Bob.
Hello.
And Ian.
Hey ho!
And we'll be covering our usual type of stuff, some bits and bobs from MWO and Mechwarrior 5, some more MW5.
Some bits and bobs. Get it?
Bits and bobs.
Yeah, it's quite a good pun. So I'm the bits, Bob is the bobs, and you're the and.
Yeah.
Sure. So I'm the one person here who holds everything together. I'm perfectly fine with it.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, true. Huh? So why are you guys so shy, man? I'm the only one with the camera.
Well, someone has to do screen sharing.
Oh, yeah, true, huh? True, definitely have to. Never mind. Okay.
Tried plugging my camera last week and it died to the only one that did work. And now I'm just two dead cameras here.
To the cameras. Okay.
Nice.
Okay, so what's on the agenda and what's the first topic here?
So let's just get MWO out of the way. First things first is all the Mechwarrior 5 variants that they've released for MWO are now available for C-bills.
Which is the Catapult
Yay.
C2, the Warhammer D9, the Marauder 9M, and the King Crab 001. I think the best one I like is the Warhammer 9D. I think that's a pretty cool one.
I think the least exceptional ones are the Warhammer and the Catapult, with the Marauder
Hey,
being the most interesting
Really?
myself.
you take that back. The catapult's amazing.
I'm a great Warhammer
mean-
fan, so yeah, I like that one.
The Warhammer has a larger engine cap than the others, but its hard points are very unremarkable, with a lot of the weapons stuck in the arms, which are low and often shot off.
But it's a Warhammer.
Yeah, but
It's
you
enough
could just
said.
you could do better with any other Warhammer.
Still, I like Warhammers.
Wow.
I'm gonna have them all.
Yeah, Catapult C2 missile and ballistic hard points is interesting, but it doesn't necessarily have the tonnage to really make use
Yeah,
of all of that, and the
the
missile arms fall off.
The catapult C2 is a K2 with jump jets. That's how
Yes.
you should
Okay.
use it.
Okay.
And primarily, it's a K2, a ballistic K2 jump
Well,
jets,
yeah, who would use the energy in a K2?
as backup for the ballistic.
I would.
Yeah.
Let's try something different.
Like I often suggest people to take like 2 LB10 plus 4 medium lasers and a standard engine if they want to make a cheap K2 build.
Mhm.
That
Alright.
is okay. Whereas yeah, the Marauder, it's got missiles at hard points on each side. It's got ECM and CT. Yeah, that's the most interesting in my opinion. And then there's a King Crab. It has missiles on both side torsos. It's a thing.
Normally, what they put like mermaidies on them.
Well, you can put MRM40 one side, like 2 MRM30s on the other side, and take a light engine.
Okay, that's not bad. Okay, so next up we got
The most beautiful picture I've seen on the Mechwarrior Online page in years.
Cyber Week. Really?
I'm just gonna put this out. Yeah, Cyber Week.
Okay.
So if you guys listening to this on SoundCloud, go ahead and check out the Mechwarrior Online page. They've got a beautiful picture right there for the Cyber Week sale, and I wanted
It's a lovely pinky purpley dropship.
Yes.
that would be great as something as a wallpaper without all the text. I could do without the text, but this is it's a very nice dropship. Otherwise, yeah, it's interesting. There's no event, at least not one running on right now. It's just the sale, and the sale is also this awkward 2 days, 50% off certain faction patterns, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that one at all.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's kind of like we always talk about how weird it is when events are made in phases, because you have to manage your spreadsheet, what you want to get done when. And sales are even more awkward because it doesn't even entice you to play for those multiple phases. It's just like, yeah, you're going to have to remember which exact 2 days you have to log in to buy your camo.
Yeah, I got to put it on my calendar. Oh, well, phase 2 has phase 3 has a hot rod. That's between the 7th and the 9th.
Hey, phase 2 has the woodland.
Ooh,
and we
and-
can all agree the woodland is the best pattern, right?
No, phase 3 has mountain line. That one's the best.
I was going to say phase 3 myself. Mountain lines there.
But yeah, at the time of the release of this podcast, you can still grab a couple of patterns. Keep in mind, though, these are the permanent patterns, and usually we recommend just buying the one-shot patterns, which are currently not on sale.
It says the selected permanent and one-shot camos are 50% off. It's just they only show
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
permanent prices.
Oh, never mind then. Go ahead and pick up some one-shots.
Okay.
Yeah, very little going on at MWO, quite as to be expected, because all hands on deck for the release of MW5.
Which comes out on the 10th, and everyone's freaked out and hyped about this, including myself.
Yeah, Mechwarrior 5 will be coming out very soon after this podcast goes live. So, what news do you guys want to handle first with Mechwarrior 5?
Let's start with the quick topic, maybe, of ray tracing.
Okay.
Alright, so ray tracing. If you remember last week, I was wondering where the ray tracing button was for Mechwarrior 5. And turns out Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries won't support NVIDIA RTX and DLSS at launch. Which is okay. I mean, after all, most people wouldn't use that feature anyway, given that you need an RTX graphics card, which is expensive and stuff. It's just kind of disappointing, since it's another thing they didn't manage to get going, especially given that Mechwarrior 5 was featured on the big NVIDIA ray tracing panel back in the day, and now the game doesn't even have ray tracing.
But I did actually check a tweet, and Russ is actually going to put that in later on as an update or something like that.
Well, yeah, they have to. I mean,
Yeah.
how much do you think NVIDIA is giving them?
I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm fairly certain NVIDIA is going to sponsor the implementation of ray tracing for Mechwarrior 5.
Well, that will sell different. That will sell cards. So yeah, I would definitely assume so. Any type of marketing like that would be just dumb if they didn't.
Yeah, perhaps just as a brief aside, we should explain just what ray tracing is, and because not all of us, including some of us,
Yeah.
the show, but sure.
Right. Ray tracing, the quickest thing is it's really fancy lighting that looks super realistic, but halves your frame rate.
Oh.
Well, the way most games run at the moment is they use tricks to simulate lighting. Like back in the olden days, you would sort of do a thing where the lighting was baked into the level, because you could sit down with a server farm and figure out where all the photons are flying around, but doing it live is something else. With ray tracing, you're able to move the sun from one side of the horizon to the other, and it will change the whole lighting in the scene live, and it won't require you to run a server farm to do it. And then using a lot of advanced technical tricks to do so. But those technical tricks require you to have the right graphics cards. And yeah, that was what at least MWO was trying to sell itself on. It's like, hey, we've got some really advanced lighting in this thing, reflections, things with glass paneling and everything. Like, this is all going to be rendered live on your computer. It's going to be some of the most advanced stuff you've seen, and it won't come out with game on launch, even if you have a card ready to actually show this advanced technology.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
I'm slightly annoyed about this because Mechwarrior 5 was one of two reasons I did actually buy a RTX graphics card, rather than the much more affordable other options. So it's definitely annoying.
How much of a difference is it having it and not having it? Is
Well,
it like night and day or what?
Not necessarily. Lighting looks prettier in certain circumstances. If you have stuff like it's especially noticeable when you have wet surfaces.
Oh, okay.
And lights around it. That's probably the most visible use case. In night environments, it helps a bit, and as Spider said, reflections like cockpit, the sun shining off the cockpit, stuff like that.
Okay.
But you probably, if you haven't seen it in action, you probably won't miss it.
Yeah, I don't. I have a 1066 gig, GTX card, and I mean, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with what it is. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a good card.
Yeah.
I think an example I remember, them showing off the technology is sort of like somebody inside like a kind of wooden house, a creaky wooden house looking, seeing the light going through, slim floorboards, how it bounces around the cavernous ceiling, etc., etc. Like to make that lighting environment look right with modern techniques, before you had to do a lot of tricks to make sure it looked right, but with ray tracing, they can just flip a switch and the game figures it all out for you. And in those kind of very complicated lighting environments, you could certainly see a difference.
Yeah.
On average, though, the thing is, we've gotten very good at all the tips and tricks of figuring out lighting, and a lot of games actually do have dynamic lighting already. It's just there's sorts of situations where if you have a tree shining a shadow onto the house, you won't have that shadow impacting the lights inside the house, stuff like that, because figuring things out like that is extremely complicated. Whereas, figuring out, this tree casts a shadow is a lot easier for a computer to do. So, yeah, it's in the future when all cards perhaps have this kind of technology, it will mean games are a lot easier to produce. But right now, if you are happy with how games look, you'll still be happy even without the technology.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you want a example that's really easy to see, go ahead and Google ray tracing on Minecraft. That's one of the better examples because Minecraft had something called shader mods, which were player created things that basically simulated real-time light and real-time shadows. And the ray tracing looks basically exactly like that, except for some very, very border cases.
So like older Minecraft, for example, if you place a torch down inside a dark cave, it would only really illuminate a small area around. With ray tracing, though, the light actually literally sort of travels through the corridors. So, it'll look a lot more realistic that way.
I think Bob is falling asleep.
We've lost old Bob.
Sorry. Doesn't work on my computer, please. No, actually, that's all stuff that's way beyond me. I just plug in a card and pretty much go click the button and it ray traces, and then if it's gonna kill my card or kill my frame rates, I drop that and go work on something else. That's kind of like my I know just enough to get me in trouble, but that's about it really.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen MW5 and how much it will really play into things because I think the places they like to show it off the most is in the Mech lab, since that's all internal. There's a lot of light sources. You can really show it off there. Whereas when you're in these big open fields, there's only so much you can do with, yep, there's a sun. Everything's illuminated.
Okay. Yeah, it seems and with Mechwarrior 5, they actually did say it's gonna be with it, but it's not. And so, like, everyone's kind of flipping out a little bit too, like, against Russ.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. If we're gonna be completely honest, it's just another broken promise.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
We've had a lot of those in the past.
Yeah, true.
It is interesting that they were not able to make it for launch, since they've been touting it before and been showing it off in game. And I don't know what's all behind it, but you would have thought they would have flipped that switch and made it work for quite some time.
Yeah, I would have expected it to be baked into the game from the very beginning of development. And this just tells us that all the demos they did were specifically designed with ray tracing.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Okay.
We've got some screenshots beyond what we saw in the beta. Thanks to Hydra then on Twitter for bringing it up to our attention.
Yeah.
Apparently, inside the Mechwarrior Online files, the beta files, there's a lot of really interesting stuff to find. I'm just gonna put this out there. If you guys are interested and not afraid of spoilers, go ahead and take a deep dive into those files. There's some fun stuff there. But there's also some videos that we can talk about without spoiling you. So
yeah.
Bob, you posted the screenshots. Can you explain us what we're looking at?
Right now is the damage components. As far as yellow is kind of like you can fix it, kind of like a critical hit on, say, a single heat sink, and then the red is it's completely gone, and so we have to replace it. That's the first screenshot that they have. That's kind of like how they're going to go ahead and figure out or what it's going to look like for the damage components, so you'll be able to go fix them like in a mech lab.
Yeah, so this mech lab, this is an image in the mech lab. It's showing some parts that you just have to chuck out, and some parts you can replace. And there's even like damage structure and things.
Yeah. It looks mostly like what HBS Battletech did, except for the armor values. Apparently, you're gonna have to repair armor and spend time and money to repair armor. Whereas Battletech decided you're gonna have to repair structure, but armor is gonna be repaired for free.
Well, they made it easy. That's why. Made it like
they
easier.
simplified it a bit.
So yeah.
And Mechwarrior 5, you're gonna have to spend. I don't think armor is gonna take long. Armor is usually a field repair, so you're gonna have to spend maybe a day to repair your mechs.
Yeah.
The second screenshot, if you got it up there. Second screenshot is skills. Now it looks like they only have 6 different types of skills: ballistic, energy, missile, shielding, which is kind of a automatic torso twist, heat management, and evasion. I just kind of dived in just a little bit, and you were talking. Bider was talking about how the level of the pilot actually increases. Is that right?
Well, I'm not sure how it will all actually play out, but you can see on this particular screenshot, on the right-hand side is Commander Mason, which is presumably the player character. All the skills are 1 out of 10, some are 2 out of 10. So this is early on. The commander is able to, he has no restrictions whatsoever on what he can level up. On the left-hand side of the screen, you can see all the other pilots, and their skills actually are a lot more different. So the next one on the list has 1 out of 3 for ballistic, 1 out of 2 for energy, 2 out of 3 for missile, so on and so forth. Like they only have 3 or 5 or 6 even points that they can actually get up to. There's limits to their skills. My guess was that how far you can bring their skills up to really depends on their overall rank or skill level, so to speak. So when you get a green rookie fresh off the wherever people go to mech school, you can train them, but they'll only get 1 or 2 or 3 levels in a weapon thing, and it's only when you rank them up to a sergeant, into a major, or whatever, that you're actually you're level gated, so to speak, in what levels you can bring up.
Level gated.
I'm just thinking about you're forced to pay them a fair salary. You have to actually pay them the next rank salary in order to skill them up. Yeah. So apparently they're mirroring a Canadian system for salary and not the US system. Throwing some shade there.
Now, as for the what the skills do, it is a very simple. If you have more skill in a certain weapon system, that weapon system, if you're using it, will do more damage. This is actually a little bit of a problem in the sense that you're using stock builds, which often have a wide variety of different weapon systems. Like if you're taking the Shadowhawk with ballistic, a little bit of missile, a little bit of energy. If you spec with this, you want to sort of take all 3, but that is going to be extremely expensive, at least for higher levels. So it encourages, somewhat, I would imagine, encourages you to specialize in certain damage types, at least to get the most out of your mech warriors early on. Instead of putting 1 into each, of the different weapon types, you just put it into 1. And you're 3 times more effective. So if you put it all into energy and find an energy boat, you're already happy. But if you find most of the mechs are mixed weapon loadouts, and you're just going to be sad because it's like, I just want the energy hunchback with all those medium lasers. It calls people instantly because I've got high energy weapon skill. And I'll just use this to cruise through the whole game because of how we have done weapon skills. Also, piloting skills. Oh, Bob, you brought up like shielding. I think shielding is actually going to be just a base damage reduction. Because this applies to the commander themselves, the player character, which a player can already themselves actively twist and shield. But this is either an outright damage reduction or a chance, a reduction to the enemy's accuracy type of thing.
Well, I was saying it's generally torso twisting, basically, to go to reduce the amount of damage, in I guess in a single location. So yeah, this is shielding.
The term is used shielding, and in MWO that would be torso twisting.
Torso twisting.
But in this, it's a pure damage reduction or a pure just simple.
If you look at the tooltip, it says reduces the amount of damage taken when under fire.
Why would that actually? Yeah, go ahead.
This sounds to me like a flat damage reduction.
Why would he
So
even
you-
have a skill like that, though? That doesn't make any sense. I never even
I
heard
don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't agree with these. Same for the weapon skills. Increases the amount of damage done by whatever weapon type. This sounds to me like if you have your energy skill at 10 out of 10, maybe you get 10% extra damage on energy weapons.
That would make
We
more
Yeah.
sense, yeah.
know if that's really what's gonna happen,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
that's how it reads, and I don't like that idea.
Yeah.
Somehow, when the commander is in that hunchback's seat and he presses the medium laser button, instead of doing 5 damage, it does like 10 damage. But when you put the rookie in the exact same seat with the commander next to him and he presses the button, it just goes pew, and it just does a pathetic 5 damage. And the commander just looks at him disappointingly. You've pressed that button unskillfully.
I would probably
Yeah,
say it's
and-
more of the extra damage is the skill enabled to hit a certain location. It just added in as a passive skill or something like that, like into it. If I was to change him, I would actually say the ballistic and all the different stuff. You either are more accurate, also does more damage. Also, it will reduce the amount of heat used for that certain type of weapon system. I would probably put that in there myself.
I disagree very much. I don't like the idea of changing weapon systems, period.
Well, not
I
changing
like the
weapon
idea of
systems.
if your energy skill is really high, your lasers are gonna hit a lot better. And
Well, yeah.
your lasers are more likely to hit the center torso. I do not like the idea of increasing the damage your lasers do whenever they hit.
You mean just like a focus, basically, on a certain location?
Yeah, just basically increase the aim of that particular AI pilot for whenever he uses energy weapons.
So, like, basically reduce the spread of certain types of weapon systems, like missiles and a ballistic for like a LBX cannon. That actually would make more sense, though. Yeah, true.
So I think there's 2 levels to it. Obviously, the when we're talking about skills, like where things actually hit when it's the player character is all just down to where they aim.
Mhm.
There's you're doing exactly the same action, but your character is very skilled, so therefore, for some reason, it counts as a much more damaging hit every single time. But yeah, with the AI, it does make sense to have them, hit at least more accurately more often. That they are better shots. As it is, though, we do have multiple screenshots. One showing these tooltips in regards to the commander, and one for these tooltips showing a random mech warrior,
Mhm.
which in both cases have exactly the same text description. So as it is, this is the skill system, and it's universal across the board. And yeah, for weapons, it's divided into 3 different weapon categories, and it's just bonus damage. For piloting skills, we have just pure damage reduction. We have now, I'm not sure about this one, the chances of overheating and increasing heat dissipation speed for heat management. So
Yeah.
your heat sinks are improved and the chance of overheating. That might just mean threshold, or there's some kind of heat damage you could take or something. It's a bit odd, the chance of overheating. Once you're over 100%, usually in these games, you just, you're now
down.
rolling the die, or you're shutting down, or you're taking damage from heat.
That's
So
really
what
weird.
dice roll are there? Yeah.
I mean, like, why would a skill? I have skilled heat management. That way, I could put my fusion engine and run it a little bit further or something. That doesn't make any sense. I would think you would have like some type of coils or cooling
that
system or something like that, like
makes,
involved.
if you look at the novels, override shutdown is a thing that people always press, usually until they pass out. That's how it's always
Yeah.
described in the novel. So I guess a really experienced and hardened pilot could press that button once more often than anyone else, because he's used to this kind of heat. Maybe that's the thing. So increasing the shutdown threshold could make some sense.
I think it's
I
stretching,
take-
but go ahead.
Stretching, yes, but I take more issues with other skills.
Yeah, the shielding, I definitely take like issue with. There's no.
I
force
do
shield
find
or
it
anything.
weird how the heat sinks themselves are somehow better that in the
Yep.
cockpit. Is there anything in regards to law? I mean, with them flushing
Absolutely
heat,
not.
No.
I mash the random heat flush buttons more often, therefore I'm better.
Yeah, I know.
I'm skilled enough to open the cockpit hatch for exactly the right amount of time before an enemy can hit me through it.
Now, if
It would be funny if a skilled pilot could, like, I don't know, make their mech dance, whereas a standard, an unskilled pilot just sort of stands there. And it's like, why are you dancing? Well, it airs out my arms more. It increases conduction.
Now, like if they had something like where you purchase a cooling vest for your mech pilot, that'd be a little bit different. That you could take more heat, or the threshold would be a little bit higher, or basically you could run a little bit further or something like that because you're not going to pass out. But this whole heat management thing just does not make any sense according to lore and everything.
Hmm.
Yeah,
The closer you get to heat management, 10 out of 10, the more they reintroduce Mechwarrior Online sound effects so that you could actually tell when you're overheating.
exactly.
That's funny.
And how
Well,
about
and
Because
lastly-
that would actually help your chances of not shutting down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And how about evasion?
Evasion is really weird. So the other ones I take issues with because I don't think the effect is gonna be good. Evasion, I take issues because I have no idea whatsoever how this is gonna be implemented. Evasion increases the chance of avoiding enemy fire.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean? Does the enemy weapon potentially, if it shoots at you, go stray?
No.
Is it that maybe it just doesn't count the damage even though it hits you?
This is the only one that actually makes sense out of all the skills. Basically, like evasion, like kind of like monk masters can go ahead and like evade arrows and stuff like that. I'm not saying you're monk masters or anything, but that's kind of like the analogy of what I'm going for. Is you just know how to move your mech in a certain way to go ahead and start evading, say like ballistic rounds. So you're a little bit faster. You just know how to your mech. This actually is the only one that makes sense out of all the skills.
Yeah, but how is it going to be implemented? That's my question.
Well, yeah.
If the evasion for your player character, if your evasion is really high, it's not going to change how your mech behaves. It's not going to change how you as the player behave.
No.
It's going to have to do something else. And I just wonder, it would be really weird if that AC20 hit your dead center torso, but because your evasion is really high, you roll the dice and...
I don't think that's how they'll do it because
Yeah.
you would have those immersion breaking things.
Mm.
Instead, it's like how when people playing the beta, they say there's just hordes of enemies, but they aren't very effective, and that's because they're all sort of trying to roll to hit the player and just missing all the damn time. I think this just reduces their chance of rolling a hit against you or firing an accurate shot.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because
we had talked a bit about that, like in previous Mechwarrior titles, where they were so inaccurate. If you actually stood still, they would take a lot less damage. Whereas if you were moving, they would accidentally hit you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this would be interesting if they had something like accuracy. I don't see an accuracy skill. That's weird to me because Mechwarrior Battletech always had accuracy or gunnery in tabletop as one of the main skills.
Mm-hmm.
They completely ditched that. So I guess evasion is basically your gunnery is gonna be set by the evasion of the person you're shooting at, which sounds kind of weird.
Now, I'm not familiar enough with it, but gunnery, it used to always be like even in BattleTech and whatnot, it's just a pure ability to aim things. So you could shove that Mechwarrior into any other mech, into a mech with multiple different types of weapon systems. And if they have a better gunnery skill, they'll generally be much better at hitting things.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the first title that has actually split it into separate weapon types?
No, because in tabletop you can do something like weapon specialization. For example, you say you specialize in short-range missiles. That means you're going to have your base gunnery skill for all weapons. But if you're firing SRMs, you have to roll one less because you've specialized in SRM.
Are you talking about the role-playing game?
In general tabletop. It's a general tabletop.
Tabletop, yeah.
Yeah, so basically you don't have to spend the experience... If you're doing the role-playing game, you don't have to spend the experience points to improve your gunnery. For all weapons, you can spend less experience points to improve your gunnery for one particular weapon system.
Yeah. It's kind of like Shadowrun is the same concept as well too.
Yeah, so it's not weird that they split it up. It's just weird the way they're wording it and potentially then the way they're implementing it.
Well, I think what you're saying though is it's in the tabletop, you had a choice, so to speak. There was just general gunnery skill, and then you had the option of going into specialization or very particular weapon systems. Whereas this is just any ballistic weapon. If you're using a Gross rifle, an AC2 or an AC20, it doesn't matter which, you're just better at it. Whereas missiles, like you spend forever using SRMs, and then you jump into an LRM carrier, and you know what to do.
Yeah. For me, I think the only possible skill is evasion, and that's about it. The only skill I kind of like out of all 6 of them. That's it. The rest
I
are
mean,
just kind
it would be shielding could be okay with your AI companions, like they're actually better at receiving damage and making sure damage is received on certain components, but that's not what the skill actually will entail.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's skills, I guess.
Yeah, I
Skills.
mean, it exists as a system. It's it feels personally a little kind of underwhelming. I think because all your abilities are summed up in just these 6 simple stats, and the buffs they give don't feel that immersive into the setting. Like even with BattleTech, it had slow, steady increase of certain things, like your chance to hit in melee. But once you reach certain levels, you had extra bonus unlocks, and I don't see anything in regards to like perks or quirks for your pilots or anything like that. It would be really interesting if there was a more fleshed out RPG system for the player to get their teeth into. And with the weapon systems being split out like this, it encourages you to boat in a system where you have a very restricted mech lab where most games are not weapon boats.
Yeah. I definitely agree on that one.
Basically, if you want to keep your pilots, your best bet is probably going to be energy, right? Because there are a lot more energy boats than anything else.
Yeah. And there's a fair number of options. You get the energy hunchback, just destroy everything with that. Like light mechs, you get lots of energy in those. Hunchback for mediums. I know at least assaults, you have the awesome with its 3 PPCs.
Yeah.
You've got the Grasshopper, the Black Knight,
Grasshopper, Black Knight, Warhammer, I think has
Battle
a
Master.
energy weapon. Yep. Plenty of options for energy boats. Dakar boats, on the other hand, light mechs, Irby.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part, you want energy or missile, and to just specialize in that. At least you want to do that if you're playing on the harder difficulties.
Yeah, I'm underwhelmed with the skill system here. So, okay, well, that's skills for you. That's
Yep.
Mechwarrior 5 skills, underwhelming.
All right, and there's one final screenshot we've got, which is just a preview of one of the early missions. I think it is one of the story missions, in fact.
Yeah, a smash and
And
grab.
in this one, you can see how you negotiate. So, depending on your relationship with the factions, you have a certain number of negotiation points, and that can be used to increase CBIL payout, salvage rights, or give
Damage
you
coverage.
insurance. Yeah.
Damage
Which is
insurance?
really cool, by the way.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
This makes a lot of sense. I like this system probably a bit more than the BattleTech system, mostly because the damage coverage, which is something that was mentioned in all the mercenary-focused BattleTech novels, but it's not something I think we've seen in any mech so far. And I think it's a really cool idea because it makes total sense. Like, either you can go ahead and you do this mission, we're going to give you a small bit of money, but you can pick all your salvage, or we're going to give you some money and we're going to repair all your stuff, but all the salvage belongs to us. And those kind of negotiations. I like this a lot. I think this is really good.
Or is damage coverage the amount of buildings you actually destroy? So basically, they got to pay the civilians.
Sure.
Yeah, actually,
but
I think it got
it. I think it got established by HBS that all the cities you fight in BattleTech games are indeed deserted, so you don't do any damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cough.
Yeah. It does. It's a lot less expressive, I would say, that than Harebrained Schemes BattleTech, because like with that, if you just wanted C-bills, you could just move that bar max and get a whole bunch of C-bills. In this, if you have not much of a relationship with any of the factions, which will be the case to start with, you only have 1 point to allocate, so you can only slightly nudge salvage C-bills or damage coverage.
Yeah, which makes sense. If the employer doesn't know you, he's obviously not going to be that giving in terms of money and stuff.
True.
Whereas in BattleTech, you start out and you can immediately demand a whole lot of stuff.
In BattleTech, you can say, I don't care about salvage because everything's just light mechs. Give me some sweet dough. I've got to upgrade my dropship and make sure I never go in debt ever again.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely like this type of system. You put more control in what you're actually getting, and plus also you really have to decide C-bill, salvage, and damage coverage. I like that idea. It puts more immersive like into the game itself instead of like BattleTech where you just say, oh, yeah, I'm new, I got a mech and I want to go ahead and work for you. It's like, well, I want all C-bills. It's like, okay. And based off your negotiation with the type of faction, it adds or subtracts from what you can do, I guess.
Basically, in
that's cool.
BattleTech, Darius is really good at negotiating.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
He just puts out the sliders at the meeting and just, all right, we're going to move the slider over here. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
I also like the idea because this makes the standing with certain employers really impactful on how you're gonna play the game. So it's really worthwhile to really focus hard on a certain employer to get your standings up with them. Whereas in BattleTech,
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you can ally with 2 or 3 people, and that gives you access to special stuff, but overall the improvement is not that insane.
It's
Whereas here it's
what was
really
it, like 50% extra C-bill payout? So
yeah.
well, the thing is, like, you have a mission, particularly late game. Instead of 1 million, it's 1.5 million, and then there's the bonus objectives. So you're turning a 1 million mission into like 2 million, effectively.
Is it actually 50%? I thought it was something like 15.
It's much bigger than 15.
Okay. I know the shop is a 10% discount, which I guess is a fair bit of money.
Yeah.
But even then, it's when you reach the late game, whether you do one more mission to buy something, or whether you spend your whole campaign working for one faction to get that 10% discount, it's probably not gonna make that much of a difference.
Yeah, it just for me at least, with building up reputation with employers, it can really start stacking up the cash you're earning from them in BattleTech. But yeah, we'll have to wait. As ever, this is just a glimpse. We'll have to wait and see how it all actually plays out. I think, in some ways, the C-bill payout and damage coverage are both going to infect you on the simple just how many C-bills you get at the end of the day, and it'll be interesting to see which one you will want to prefer at what point in the game. So early on, of course, you've got light mechs, the damage repair costs might not be that high. So therefore, upping C-bill payout might be a lot more profitable, whereas late game, it's much better to cover the costs of repairing your heavies and assault mechs rather than C-bills. So it's at least a little more tactile in that regards, but it could just all devolve into C-bill payout is always better. Don't bother with damage coverage, and you just up that as much as you can.
It all depends how much it costs to repair your mechs. So they might actually replace arms as well. Who knows?
And it's going to be really interesting because how much a single C-bill is worth in terms of mech equipment is something that to me was always really weird in the BattleTech universe.
Yeah.
Where you could fight, even in HBS BattleTech, where you could fight 2 assault lands of battle mechs, which are worth, if you bought them new, like 15 to 20 million C-bills each. And then your payout is 1 million C-bills.
Yeah.
That kind of balance always felt really off to me in the BattleTech universe in general. So I'm gonna take a look at how Mechwarrior 5 tries to balance that out.
Well, it seems like they didn't do a good job in balancing out jump ship times, because we talked about that one time where you go from Merrick to to like Kurita in less than 18 days.
Yep.
That's not going to happen. Yeah. So I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with that? But they probably had to do that just for time wise, something like that or something. And I think
We'll see.
I do think BattleTech did a good job on that, though.
Yeah, BattleTech did a good job.
Yeah.
Even though it does mean when you play with the full Innisphere map, it takes forever to get somewhere. But hey, that's realistic. I like that.
Yeah.
That's why I chose to play on the full map.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Do we have anything else for the screenshots? No, we don't.
No, we talked them to death for what little we've seen. I don't want to spoil too much.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about that person in the early game has to pay 51,000 C-bills in 3 days. No? Okay, fine.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, next is marketing for Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries. What have you guys seen so far?
Just myself, it's mostly just been on the Mechwarrior 5 channel, just them, posting the couple videos there.
Hmm.
There's the
Yeah.
intro cinematic and then launch trailer, which isn't confusing at all. It's the one that plays when you launch the game. Or, I mean, the one that is when you launch.
Yeah,
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought the intro cinematic would be from the naming for me, the intro
Intro
cinematic.
cinematic is when you launch the game, and the other one
Yeah.
is just when
When the game
at the launch
launches
of
the
the game.
trailer. Yeah,
Yes.
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
It's just the naming is both.
Yes.
It has a lot of crossover.
Okay, but let's put together what we've seen. We've seen obviously videos from the Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries YouTube channel.
Mhm.
Actually, well, okay, compared to what we had before, we've seen a lot of videos, but
Yeah.
compared to what other games do, it's not a lot. We've seen the novellas, which haven't been marketed themselves either. They're just kind of there.
There's out there.
We've seen the Twitter account postings, which are also very neat. I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed. I haven't seen any wide range marketing. Even on the Epic Games Store, I haven't seen a pop up or something like that.
That's a good point, actually. For me, I'm kind of like, eh. I mean, they did some things. They did some things that were like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, I'm coming underwhelmed with the marketing as far as the game itself. The intro for the game itself, I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. It's it's very like interesting. There was some blowback on it because it's not as good as HBS one. The HBS one is
I mean, that one's hard
Yeah.
to beat.
Yeah, that one is really hard to beat.
Even when Bida is always going off about the star, like I think it's
Yeah.
the best intro.
Yeah, it is a really good intro with great music.
It's a fine intro to the setting. It's just, of course, Harebrained Schemes BattleTech is
Yeah.
set in the periphery where it's all very different story.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's trying to do almost exactly the same thing, and they aren't. There's very little actual mechs walking about or mech combat in it, and so they have to just make do with, the star map type visuals and things.
Yeah.
Sort of, throw together a kind of depraved, a city type thing, and it's it feels a lot more cobbled together. The music, sort of the actiony music, doesn't fit when there isn't actually action going on.
Mhm.
With Harebrained Schemes BattleTech's, the music they had for it was much more somewhat whimsical, sort of grand scale. Which fits the talking about this grand scale, in the sphere fighting amongst itself and all the succession wars.
Yeah.
With MechWarrior 5, it has this epic mech on mech fighting music whilst it talks about the grand scale things going on. It's just it's a bit of a mismatch.
Yeah, actually, I definitely agree with that. They, I mean, I do give them props for actually making videos, because that's one of the things that it's really easy. Well, not easy to make, but it's a lot easier than actually just paying basically a marketing company to go ahead and pop out stuff they don't know anything about. So I'm guessing these guys, Mechwarrior PGI, are making these videos and then using another company to market these
Do
things
you
out or something like
really
that.
think so?
Yeah.
Because apparently, what we've heard from Russ is that they fired a company to.
Oh, they fired him. I didn't realize that.
They hired. They
hired.
hired.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, and the only quote unquote marketing that we've seen so far are those videos. So my assumption would be that those videos were indeed produced by said company.
So I think the intro cinematic was obviously made to introduce the game, and it's something that they produced that they might as well put up on the YouTube channel and whatnot.
Yeah.
There was that introduction to Mechwarrior 5 video, the one where they get an atlas as a payout, part of the payout for doing a mission or running through some warehouses to stop some terrorist thing. That one we said we finally had some gameplay to break down. That one was obviously produced for marketing. The launch trailer, I think, is also produced for marketing. Whereas intro, I think that you usually most games make an intro cinematic to their games anyway.
So those two videos were actually done by a different marketing company. Like I said,
presumably.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that would be my assumption because what else would they have done? It's not like we've seen anything else.
If that's true, and they paid these guys, I would probably want my money back. Just,
well, it depends how much they're paying.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, that's
Russ just turns up and says, "I've got you plenty of hope and some peanuts. I hope this will be enough."
Well, we can make assumption.
yeah.
Russ said they spent a lot more on marketing than they did on Mechwarrior Online. We know Mechwarrior Online had banners on YouTube. We know banners on YouTube are crazy expensive.
Yeah.
Ergo, we can assume that that company, whatever they're doing, they did receive a lot of money.
I would say, personally, have you guys seen the launch trailer?
Yes.
I think that one actually works way better as like an intro to the game. It's got a lot more mech action in it, so lots of them stomping around and fighting, and it somewhat establishes the more personal story of the game rather than this again trying to do the whole there's a big war of the Star League and stuff, big scale stuff, and you're just a tiny mercenary with the club. Go get him, Tiger.
Well, actually, I'm kind of going to disagree with that, though. You don't want to have mech combat and everything for the launch trailer. For the simple fact is, they're already going to be playing the game. You want a storytelling. It's not the greatest story. It's not as good as like HBS, but you want a type of storytelling like these are battle mechs. These are the Knights of Battlefield type thing.
I mean, let's look back at some of the older Mechwarrior titles. Mechwarrior for Vengeance obviously had that really personal trailer that focused hard on the story, that gave you the intro to why are you fighting this war, what are you trying to achieve.
But like, sorry, go ahead.
I think Mechwarrior for Vengeance did the best job at introducing the game setting, not the big setting, but the game setting. We've had Hairbrained Schemes who did something like the big setting on how the universe came to be.
Yeah,
we've had Mechwarrior 3, which also did more of a universe kind of thing, but also, in addition, they still introduced the story. So they did both things because they had this one startup thing, then they had the campaign one, then they had the intro into the first mission, and they still had the universe thing with the these are the best of the best. They're called the Mechwarriors, this thing that I still know by heart. And then we've had something like Mechwarrior for Mercenaries that did mech combat and mercenaries are cool, and that was kind of it.
I think actually the best things to actually get the immersive was Mech Commander with the real actors.
Okay, Mech Commander was cool, but also Mech Commander was way too short.
Oh yeah. By far. But I mean overall, I mean that and plus HBS were like one of the best like intros or like immersion type videos for the game itself. I mean using real actors. Yeah.
I'm going to disagree slightly. No. I'm going to say Mechwarrior for Vengeance had the best because they also used real actors and they blended it together just a notch better than the Mech Commander with their 2000 graphics.
Are you kidding, man? They definitely had the like news reports and everything else, and plus had Katrina Steiner like on there as well for the Mech Commander.
Yeah, it was cool. I'm just saying I personally like the Vengeance.
Okay, I personally like the Mech Commander one.
All right, cool. That's something we can
okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's all going to be down to somewhat personal preference on whatnot and how much it really personally affects you and things. For me, though, I think I would personally aim to have the intro cinematic be on a similar level to the perspective of the player in game. So for me, I want it to show mech on mech combat, make you feel cool to be a mercenary type stuff, rather than talking about the grander setting, because you want to get people into this game and have them have fun with what you can actually provide in this game. And if they're really interested in the grander setting, there's plenty to read up on Sana and whatnot, and you can always just have someone show them the BattleTech introduction.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree on that one. I definitely like. I mean, it's not the best video they did, by far. Trying to get the universe like involved, trying to get the new players, because it's just not made for us. It's just not made for the Lord Freakazoids like I am, or the people playing Mechwarrior Online. It's actually for everyone, and so they're trying to get like a basic like here are battle mechs, and you're the Knights of the Battlefield, and this is what you do, and all that kind of stuff. But not and it's trying to give a basic story at the of what 3015 was, and so
I think you don't need to say, oh, okay, and here is the tale of my people, and you explain once upon a time we're a small tribe on the steppe working hard to figure things out. I mean, that is part of the setting, but what you want to just say is we're knights in shining armor now, and I've got a big sword, I've got a big shield, kind of thing.
Well, they could have done a better job, basic on the intro. That's definitely like evident of the intro itself. They could have done a much better job. But as far as a basic type thing, saying, hey, this is that, I think it was okay. but they could have done a better job.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
that's something we can agree on.
Yeah.
None
It's
of
just
us are
so
too
it's so
heavy.
it's so low key,
Yeah.
I think, and particularly with that when you're at the main menu and it just
Yeah.
blares the soundtrack in your ears.
God.
It's so discordant, this game, at least in the
Yeah.
sense that
Basically, you start up the game. First thing you hear is this giant vroom with the PTI logo.
Yeah.
Then you get this kind of quiet and explaining tutorial into the universe. Then you get on the main menu and it's dum dum dum. You have this giant soundtrack, and then you start your campaign, and it's all gone again, and it's quiet again.
And change that tooltip of the little bop every time you go over any type of thing. Please, 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 for the love of God, change that.
It's almost like to come up with an analogy in my head. It's like you're coming over to someone's house. They say, "Oh, hello," and they very meekly proffer you in, and then they say, "Welcome to my house! Isn't it awesome?" And they make a huge opening soundtrack on the front menu. Just it's like, "Whoa, okay, hello, this is you. This is your house," and they say, "Come into my library. We're going to read books."
Exactly.
Yeah, that is perfect. Exactly that. Okay, but beyond the startup intro cinematic, we were talking about marketing.
Yeah.
And
one thing Matt Newman did was actually do a marketing or a video about how to adjust quick play. How to adjust a combat basically, as far as like you could set day or night, what map you play on, how hard the AI is, and everything else. And he did do one of those as well. He did, I think, last week, I believe.
Yay! 1 week before launch, they're finally starting to communicate with us.
Yeah, I know.
And they're still not doing wide range marketing.
Yeah. I want to know what the sales numbers are, but I don't think we're ever gonna go find that out.
Nope, not a chance.
I'm just curious.
I mean, who knows? Maybe they're exceptionally good.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? And in that case, Ross is obviously just gonna blare them out and like, hey, we did well. Look at our numbers.
Yeah,
but most likely it did probably okay, and he's just gonna hide everything.
Most companies do that.
That's kind of my impression of the whole game. I don't think Mechwarrior 5 is gonna be a bad game. I don't think Mechwarrior is gonna be a very specific niche game, but I also don't think it's gonna be a great game. That really appeals to a wide range of people.
Well, we'll find out on Tuesday when we get it at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or start downloading it basically.
Oh, is it 6 a.m. Pacific?
From what I saw, yeah.
That's so yes, thank you.
Nice.
The beta released at noon Pacific, which was 9 p.m. for me, so I had to stay up really late in order to play the beta on the first day.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out Tuesday if the game's going to be good or not, and then of course there'll be a lot of reviews from a lot of different people about how the game is, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and basically, I guess in the first week post-launch, we're gonna see whether they do any wide-range marketing at all, or if they're just like, "Hey, we did marketing, quote unquote.
We made a couple of videos, type thing.
We made some videos. We made some novellas that maybe 100 people are ever going to find if they manage to stumble across our homepage.
Put it on PDF, please. Please put it on PDF.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I guess to summarize marketing pre-launch, I'm really disappointed. I don't think they've really reached a whole lot of people, and I'm hoping they've still got something up their sleeves for the first few weeks after launch.
Yeah. Because we're the bigger fans, we have not seen very much at all. But who knows? Maybe somewhere deep down there in the internet, we've missed a secret treasure trove of marketing.
Maybe we did. But yeah, I've actually managed to find someone at work who's 3 times my age, and he's one of those old school Battletech fans who kind of tuned out during the times of Mechwarrior Online because he didn't have the time for it. And I talked to him on Thursday, and I was like, "Hey, next week there's gonna be a new Mechwarrior game," and he's like, "What?" So that should tell you all about marketing. If even a Battletech fan can't find any marketing.
I don't know, man. You're in Germany, so it's a little bit different though, as far as like what can actually reach Germany, because half my videos won't even appear in Germany.
Okay, maybe, but he is something well versed in English, and he was involved with Brand Schemes Battletech.
Okay, good then, cool. I'm kind of like I'm like maybe about 70% yay, type thing for the marketing. They did okay, but then there's like the other things that could have done this, they could have done this, the intro could have been a little bit better, that kind of thing. So I'm kind of about like 70% liking it.
Well, in the long run, this is just an early release, and the game's coming out proper in a year's time. And after the proper
Yeah.
release, we can
Oh
use Steam
God.
charts to see how many people are actually playing the game. Finally,
Did Chinese assassins come to your house yet, or you got your tinfoil hat on against Epic Store?
well, I mean, Epic Store. Do they release Epic Store charts or anything like that?
No, of course not.
No.
The
Well,
store is
there you
basic.
go then. So once we get to the proper release, where we have a company that's honest enough to release some statistics, then we can actually see how the game is faring.
Okay. So when the game releases in 1 year for a bunch of people, we'll go see. We'll go see how that goes.
Yeah.
And until then, I guess we can make assumptions.
Yeah, true. Okay. So,
Alright, so
what's next on that?
we've got kind of one final thing to wrap up this particular episode. We've talked about a lot of minor things, mostly Mechwarrior 5. So since Mechwarrior 5 is going to be out tomorrow, if you're listening this on Monday when the podcast goes live, how excited are you for Mechwarrior 5? I know I asked this some time ago already, but give us an update. How excited are you for Mechwarrior 5?
I'll go first. Playing the demo is cool. I love the demo. It's great. But it's limited, right? So I mean, it was cool to get all the extra free stuff for the MWO was awesome, and plus also then get a chance to play it 10 days before. But as a streamer, I pretty much had to do that and kind of play the game. But I got bored really quickly with the demo. It was too easy, and basically it was only fun when I actually played with other people like you and and who was it? Motorcycle and a couple other people. It was fun doing that, but the demo was just that. It was a demo. Played it like crazy. I mean, I literally played like crazy. Did a couple of videos. I did a couple of videos, and it was cool. Now it's like I'm sitting there. I'm just only waiting for the 10th. I'm excited for the 10th, but looking at what I'm seeing now, I'm kind of looking ooh, the skill system. Ooh, boy, what's this going to be like? But of course, there's a lot of surprises we don't know about, and so I'm excited about that as well. What's going on? I've been really excited about playing this game called Generation Zero. I'm going to plug it, by the way. Generation Zero, and it was cool, and I'm really excited. But I'm sitting there going, Generation Zero or Mechwarrior 5, and I'm kind of torn. But of course, Mechwarrior 5 will win. But seeing the demo and playing it kind of put my expectations of excitement less than what if I didn't actually play the demo. I don't know if you guys understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I actually do, because to some extent I agree. I was excited for Mechwarrior 5 until the Epic Games Store. I think I talked about this last episode. I was excited for Mechwarrior 5 until the Epic Games Store debacle mostly, and then my excitement just went way down. And now I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, it's gonna be the next title from my by far favorite franchise on the PC, and I'm still somehow just barely looking forward to it. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be cool, but also like, eh. And the past few days, I've even noticed I didn't even consciously remember that it was a thing. And on Friday, I looked up the date and was like, holy shit, that game's gonna be out next Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so the time just passed without me really counting down to it. And if I look back at Battletech, at the Battletech release, like months ago, I started looking into my calendar every day and counting down how long it's gonna be until I can play the campaign. And for this game, I'm like, yeah, cool, it's gonna be here next Tuesday. Yeah. It makes me sad that I can't get myself to be excited for what's potentially gonna be my favorite game of the year. And well, that's that. So yeah, my anticipation, it's gotten lower. I'm still excited for a lot of things that I want to do in it. I am excited to see all those mechs walk around in new detail. And that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, just looking at mechs.
Yeah.
I'm not really excited for the game. I'm just excited to look at the mechs yet again.
I just want to add one more thing if I could.
All right.
For me, when I actually say get handed all the mechs like in the demo, and to go off and do all the different builds and everything else. I just like, oh yeah, I want to do this build. It kind of devalues the game for me, and so I get kind of bored a lot quicker.
Mhm.
Then if I have to kind of buy the mechs, repair the mechs, and go over time, it's like, oh, I got Hunchback 4G, oh awesome, type thing. But with this, with the demo out, it diminished my excitement for Mechwarrior 5 because I just got handed all the mechs right then and there. I could do anything I want. I could play any mech I want to. I could do different customizations. I could do like anything I want to do, and that I think was a problem with the Mechwarrior 5 demo, at least my own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so Bob still needs a parent to tell him that he's not allowed to play demos.
Yeah, please, honey,
Okay.
don't tell me to play demos. Okay.
Yeah, as for myself at least, I'm not sure. I haven't got very much hype for the game going into it. I think, obviously, like Ian, I had a lot of that deflate with the Epic Game Store thing. There's also, I mean, we've gone through the marketing and it's like we're picking up bits and pieces. We're slowly learning about the game, but we're only really learning about it on release. So, there isn't much for me to build a hype cycle behind. And also, there's the big question in my head, perhaps just the simple one of what is the selling point of this game? What makes it unique? What makes it distinct?
Yes.
And for me, at least, if I want to do the managing a mech company and a lance of mechs, Harebrained Schemes BattleTech is already on the market and is already pretty decent. And if I want to do first-person shooting, where every single blow matters, there's already Mechwarrior Online. For me, having this mech management thing and first-person stuff, it's just I don't that putting those together doesn't actually really excite me because I already have the two bits distilled down to their essence and put into two fairly good games. Um, and yeah, that's I just from what bits we can see, like the mech lab and the pilot skills, the travel times, etc., it doesn't seem to hold much of a unique its own identity that will really make it a compelling game cycle. In which case, why not just play MWO or Harebrained Schemes BattleTech?
Or even why not play Mechwarrior 4 Mercenaries?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Mechwarrior 2 Mercenaries if you're willing to go that far back.
Yeah, that's like basically brought up a good point though. It's like we really don't even know anything about the game. Most companies actually go ahead and give like, here's a dev thing of them playing the game. This is what you can do with this, just like what Harebrained Schemes did. And literally though, like I don't know almost anything about what's going on. There's I don't know anything about what's going on like with that game. They didn't do any dev reviews. They didn't do any sit downs or anything else. Like AMAs were there, but they were just kind of very vague, and we never got a picture of the mech lab. And when the AMA was actually done by Russ, never.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on. We don't know how the mech system works. We don't know how salvage works. We don't know anything really.
And when we finally get answers, it's like, oh, okay, so they have this really stripped down mech lab. Well,
Yeah.
if I want to customize mechs, I've got BattleTech or Mechwarrior Online, which are way more better and more expressive. Like for me, at least, that much more interesting. And skills in MWO, there's this huge skill tree system, and what we got is this 1 out of 10 system for 6 skills, and it's just a simple damage increase numbers or damage taken damage reduction increases and slightly improved heat management. It's like, if I want to manage a skill tree, MWO has it better already. The whole point of going to single player is you should be you're not restricted by trying to manage an online economy and everything being competitive, but MWO has things like quirks and this doesn't. It's just I'm taking a stripped down version of MWO when really this is the time you can unleash Pandora's box and give us a really in-depth character system, give us a really in-depth mech lab, etc., but I don't have that.
Give us Mechworks. Just these straight BattleTech tabletop Mechworks. Those are a thing, and they're pretty awesome, and they make variants distinct.
Yeah.
And I think it's a thing people talked about with Harebrained Schemes BattleTech. It's like, oh, can we do things with actuators? Well, they did do a thing. It's not the bestest, but I could imagine you take MWO's Mech Lab and you're able to switch in and out or have actual hand actuators, limb actuators get damaged and replaced with better ones. But again, they're not even there visible on the Mech Lab, even on extended view, because they've dumbed it down.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, that's but I am excited, but not as excited as I would hope, type thing.
Yeah. I think there is one niche for the game, which is just simply, mech management sim with your friends, co-op.
Yeah.
Co-op is the saving grace somewhat perhaps with this game, that it's one unique selling point. You can't manage a mercenary company and do it co-op in Harebrained Schemes Battletech unless you try and do a thing where, okay, Bob, it's your mech's turn, tell me which grid to put it in and where to shoot, you know, and that's just really
While I
awkward.
go to the bathroom for like 30 minutes or something like that.
Yes.
And then go, where's Bob at? Yeah, we can't do anything. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so this is does offer a co-op experience, and I think that will be where the game really has something unique and special to it. But otherwise, single player and whatnot, I'm not interested.
Yeah, beyond that, its selling point is it's Mechwarrior for Mercenaries, bit less restrictive on the map, and with modern graphics.
And one thing I noticed too, it's really a copy of a bunch of different games. It's a copy of Mechwarrior Light, copy of BattleTech. You know, basically use the same type of like almost UI system. You know, basically the customization is different. Basically, it's based off kind of like a lore-based type thing. And then, it just, the only thing saving grace unique, like you talked about, was co-op. And I'm gonna have more fun at co-op than sitting there playing by myself. Yeah, it sounds bad, but I'll be playing by myself most of the time, and then saying,
At
"Hey,"
least you're not playing with yourself.
you know, then like Ian, I'm like, "Hey Ian, man, you want to go play with my mechs?" So, okay, sure. You know, I got some time to go play mechs, and then you know, have you come in, and we go play some stuff. And so it's just it feels like they really didn't put uniqueness into it, or a different design system, or something like that. It just feels that it's just a copy of all the different other games smashed together into a really good looking Unreal Engine.
Well, it's just because, you know, the marketing materials always just sort of show us glimpses of things.
Yeah.
And so all we can do is really relate it to other games that we've played.
Yeah.
And when we play the demo, it's like, you know, it's fairly limited in scope, and all you can do is just, you know, switch mechs and stuff. And it's like, there's nobody out there in that company who just seems to have that passion, the burning spirit to just tell them, this is my game and this is what, you know, what is really unique about it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, I wouldn't even require a unique new game. A lot of people agreed that Mechwarrior 2 Mercenaries was probably the best Mechwarrior game. And I've always had insane issues getting a 2-1 on any system I owned because I'm that young. Sorry about that. And I would not mind just someone taking Mechwarrior 2 Mercenaries, remaking it for modern hardware with modern graphics. I wouldn't mind that. I would buy that.
Okay. So is that it for Mechwarrior 5?
I think so.
Okay, and that's it actually for the episode too.
All right.
That's it. Like Mechwarrior 5 is dead.
No, it's not that.
We'll see how we fail next week when the game is out.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be episode 109 actually. So that'll be interesting. So thank you everybody for stopping by for the First Circuit podcast. We do appreciate everything you guys do, supporting the channel, supporting the creators, Ian, Biter, and everyone else at large as well. Thank you, and we'll see you on the battlefield. So bye.
Bye.
Bye.